Hey up everyone, and welcome back to Write Good Poetry with me, Sophie Sparham. Today we are going to be looking at Margaret Atwood. Hey, I love Margaret Atwood. I think she is an absolutely wicked writer. Now, some of you might be like, oh, I've heard that name. Where have I heard that name from? Well, Margaret Atwood, probably her most famous book is The Handmaid's Tale, which obviously is like kicked off mad on that there telly screens and all that, and they've done like series and obviously the follow on and all that sort of jazz. So I wasn't quite sure who was behind that. She was the one that wrote it. However, she's obviously done a lot more stuff than that. She's a Canadian writer, born in 1939. And since 1961, she has published 18 books of poetry, 18 novels, 11 books of non-fiction, 9 collections of short stories, 8 children's books, and 2 graphic novels, as well as a number of small press editions of poetry and fiction. She's also won stuff like the Arthur C. Clarke Award, the Franz Kafka Prize, the National Book Critics. She's won loads. There's loads on this list. It's insane. Anyone who has won an Arthur C. Clarke Award, in my opinion, is an absolute don of sci-fi. That is like sci-fi royalty right there if you've got one of them. So, whew, you go, Margaret Atwood. You go. That's amazing. The poem that I've chosen to read today is Nothing to Do with Sci-Fi. It's completely different. It is called Pig Song. And I actually studied this. It was actually when I went on an Arvon course. This was one of the examples that the tutor gave. And I was thinking about it the other day. So I thought we'd do it. So here we go. Pig Song by Margaret Atwood. This is what you change me to. A grey-pink vegetable with slug eyes, buttocks incarnate, spreading like a slow turnip. A skin you stuff, so you may feed in your turn. A stinking wart of flesh, a large tuber of blood which munches and bloats. Very well then. Meanwhile, I have the sky, which is only half caged. I have my weed corners. I keep myself busy, singing my song of roots and noses, my song of dung. Madam, this song offends you, these grunts which you find oppressively sexual, mistaking simple greed for lust. I am yours. If you feed me garbage, I will sing a song of garbage. This is a hymn. So that is Pig Song by Margaret Atwood. Let's pick this poem apart. So if we're looking at, let's start off with form. If we're looking at form, it's free verse. There's no like rhyme to this poem. It's a non-rhyming poem. And it's made up of 5 different stanzas, which are all different in their length. So there's no like kind of set number of lines for each stanza. What is it about then? What is Margaret chatting about? Well, basically, if you're not already guessed, she's writing from the point of view of a pig. And I think the whole point of this poem is to make us think about how we treat other people. So in this poem, the pig is like, the pig starts off by chatting about like how the pig is seen by humans. So, a skin you stuff so you may feed in your turn, a stinking wart of flesh. So these kind of phrases and this imagery is making us think that the pig is basically saying, you just see me as food. You just see me as like this grim, horrible thing that you can eat. Because, a stinking wart of flesh, a grey pink vegetable with slug eyes, these aren't like nice images. These are like, grim descriptions basically. But the pig's not that fussed that it's seen like that, because it says, very well then, meanwhile I have the sky, and this is my favourite quote of the old poem, which is only half caged. So the sky is only half caged, like, and I'm guessing what the pig is trying to say is the fact that you know, the sky is freedom. I can look up at the sky. It's a beautiful thing, but I'm still imprisoned where you put me, basically. You might interpret that differently. Let me know if you do. And then you've got the second half of the poem, which is the pig basically saying, like, you know, I'm all right. I'm just making the best of what I've got in this situation, you know. So I keep myself busy singing my song of roots and noses, my song of dung. So the pig is like, yeah, you treat me badly, but I'm gonna live my life and like make the best of my life that I've got, basically. And then the pig goes on to say, "Madam, this song offends you. These grunts, which you find oppressively sexual, mistaking simple greed for lust." So it's like, it's going back to saying, you still find me disgusting. I'm just living my life naturally, just trying to make the best of it. But whatever I do, you still find me this disgusting creature. But then the final stanza, this puts the cherry on top. "I am yours. If you feed me garbage, I will sing a song of garbage. This is a hymn." What a way to finish a poem. So, you know, despite all of this, the woman still owns the pig. This thing that she finds repulsive or grim or just sees as a food store, she still owns it. The woman and the pig are still like bound to each other. The pig is in her care. "If you feed me garbage, I will sing a song of garbage." So it kind of goes back to the phrase, you are what you eat. You know, the pig can only be given what she gives it, because she is in control. So if she gives it garbage, that's gonna be its song, that's gonna be its life, that's gonna be what it makes the best of. If she gives it nice things, then it's gonna have a different life, obviously. So it's just, again, going back to saying, look, I'm making the best of what I've got. If you give me this, and that's what I've got, and that's what it is. There's no way of getting around that. And then the last line of the poem, "This is a hymn." Ooh, this is a hymn. What a line to finish a poem on. So, you know, a hymn is like a holy thing when you're like, you know, singing to a god, innit, or whatnot. Like, you know, a hymn is normally we're singing about religion, or we're praising someone or whatever. And you can interpret this in different ways. So you could be like, well, this is a hymn. Is it because the pig feels blessed with what it's got, and it's just being like, oh, I love you weeds, I love you ground, I love you food? Or is it used in a more sarcastic tone, being like, you know, nothing about this place is holy, but this is the hymn that I've been given to sing? Or is the line, "This is a hymn," addressed to the woman as if she is like the pig's god, and basically, you know, deals with what the pig gets to have or keep, or she's acting as a god for this animal, in terms of like, she chooses where it lives, she chooses its fate, all that sort of stuff. So it's a really interesting line, and it's a really interesting way to finish a poem, because it's ambiguous. You know, everyone is going to look at that line and interpret it differently, and I think that's a really strong part of this poem. And also, this poem doesn't preach anything to us. It doesn't tell us, oh, you should look after animals better, or you should treat people better, or you should do this and that. It just simply states what's going on. If you feed me garbage, I will sing a song of garbage. It doesn't tell, there's no call to action. It doesn't tell us to do anything. It just simply shows us life from the point of view of the pig. And I think that's another really strong point, because if the poem was written from the point of view of the woman, or just was like showing the scene of the pig and the woman, it'd be a completely different poem. And I like it because it gives a voice to the pig. And I think that's quite a rare thing. And I like it because it gives a voice to the pig, and because it does that. And I think that's really interesting. I like poems that are written from not necessarily the point of view of the poet. It can be really interesting to read that and just see how the poet kind of interprets the character that they're in. So there's a really quick summary of Pig Song by Margaret Atwood. If you've got any comments, or you interpret this differently, or you just want to chat about the poem, please comment down below. If you've not liked and subscribed to the channel and whatnot, please do. I release a new video every week. And yeah, that's all for this week. Thank you very much.